1, 2, 3. Satu, dua, tiga. Dah boleh live.
Okay, boleh ready ni eh?
Ya, dah live doktor.
So are there people already on the Facebook?
Ya, semua dah ready. Okay, boleh start.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone joining the MACE Technical Talk series, where we will have an interesting lineup of speakers and titles. So this series of talk is actually part of MACE Monday Tech Talk, organized by the Malaysian Society for Automatic Control Engineers, and we have organized it since April 2020. We have had so far about 32 talks being delivered by mostly young researchers sharing their works on various topics. But this December, the talk series is extra special because this time round it is supported by the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation Malaysia, or MOSTI, as well as approved by ASEAN Committee on Science, Technology and Innovation, or ASEAN COSTI. So I believe that there will be some participants from other ASEAN member states joining us today, and would like to welcome all of you as well. Without further ado, we have with us today, and I'm very excited to introduce our first speaker for the December talk series, Associate Professor Dr. Hairi Zamzuri. So he will be delivering a talk entitled 10 Years Journey from Autonomous Vehicle Researchers to Entrepreneur. A little bit of background about Dr. Hairi. So Dr. Hairi is an associate professor at Malaysia Japan International Institute of Technology, University Technology Malaysia, an active researcher who has been involved in R&D on autonomous vehicles for many years. I remember visiting his lab during the early days when he demonstrated his autonomous golf cart prototype. So several years onwards, he demonstrated a full version of autonomous vehicle to the most important people in the country. So congratulations. And currently, Dr. Hairi is leading eMovit Technology, a company to commercialize mobility on-demand autonomous shuttle. eMovit was established in 2017, and the company is located at Futurized Center, Cyberjaya. Their aim is to design and deploy roadworthy driverless vehicle in urban areas in Malaysia. The solution would provide a revolutionized, cost-effective and internet-enabled autonomous software solutions where it will be capable to equip from mobile robots, passenger transport to freight mover. Well, it already has actually. He has 10 years of experience in research, design and testing of autonomous and intelligent vehicles. And he also involves in design and consultancy on the development of active safety technology for 5 years for Proton. So without further ado, I would like to invite our speaker for today, Dr. Hairi Zamzuri. So Dr. Hairi, I pass to you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Thank you, and Dr. Azlina. Sorry for the delay, but I'm excited to have this sharing, and I believe more on sharings. So I'm Dr. Hairi, as been mentioned by Dr. Azlina. So my work's more on autonomous vehicle. I'm a CEO of eMovit Technology, and also associate professors at MJIT Kuala Lumpur, UTM Kuala Lumpur. So I just want to share some of my journeys related to the autonomous vehicle during my time as a researcher in the UTM and currently trying to currently commercialize our solutions in the market. So my aims last time is something like a 5 years journey. That's my aims last year. My call as a UTM autonomous vehicles project. So within 2 years, I'm trying to understand the autonomous vehicles. So I put it as a semi-autonomous. The semi-autonomous is most likely on the development of drive-by-wire, how to manipulate the brake, acceleration, steerings. And also look into on active France mitigation system. So it's that about 2 years. So, and then on top of that, the other 3 years is on the enhancement, because on 2 years previously is more on understanding how the autonomous works, understanding the fundamentals of the AV itself. And then from that enhancement, so my idea is that to have a modular software and a system integration. So the software should be able to plug and play, suit, versatile, and some sort of easier to manipulate. So that's the whole ideas of the 5 year journey. That will be aims last year 2019. So I'm more on bottom up approach. So the idea is that since that I'm more on researchers, so I need to gather all the information, I need to gather all the knowledge that I have, understanding. So we start on the bottom up approach. So the bottom up approach is more likely on fundamental first. So we start on studying on sensor fusion. This is more on research. This is more on getting the fundamentals correct. This is more on getting the system at the end will be likely integrate to
Siapa yang perlu saya buat ini
so
mesin
I'm starting with all the issues, all the
updated, okay.
fundamentals of the autonomous
Ini
vehicle.
apa?
Since that we know that it will involve a lot of algorithms, it will involve a lot of image processing, it will involve a lot
Untuk software,
mechatronics. So
untuk Jazri je
in order for that, I'm
sebenarnya dah
testing
buat
out
tapi
on
mungkin
what we call
banyak email
advanced
Ayana
ADAS
pening. Sebab
systems.
kami ada visitor pening, semua
So
pening.
try to understand or do on the research on the 2D mapping, 3D mapping, image lane. This is starting from 2016. So image lane, how it works on path tracking, obstacle detection, adaptive cruise control, rear object detection. More or less to understand the how it works before we go to the upper layer, whereby from that we can understand or we can do the mapping, for example. We can do localization, for example. And then from image lane, path tracking, we can do lateral control, for example. So if you can see that the idea is that from the fundamentals and then go up and then you can see the integration. So for example, let's say that rear object detection, we go for active blind spot. From that, we understand we can create some module on a side collision. For front collision and mitigation, for example, we can do obstacle avoidance and path planning. So all this at the end will goes into what we call an autonomous vehicle. What we can do the integration part. Yeah. So this is how the research I'm doing during the researchers time, starting around 2016 right now. All right. So this is the journey, my journey actually. We developed from buggy first because for in order to understand the AP per se, I believe we not should not go directly to vehicles. It should go to more on fundamentals, a low speed car, understanding the behavior, understanding the vehicle environment, understanding the dynamics of the vehicles, understanding the scenario, for example. So we start with a buggy. We start with 5 km per hour, and then we find out that we going to need something new. So during that parallel, we works with UTM, we works with Proton, more on advanced other systems. So we collaborate. Proton give us one car for upgrading, for research, for the developments. We also at that time understands that in order for us to do some shuttle service, we cannot use, I believe it should be not use some sort of conventional car. So then we do some research on the vehicle platform itself. So the idea is that it should be different, it should be futuristic, it should be electrics, and it should be able to control all the ego motion. I mean, we should go able to control the steering, we should be able to control the brakes, we should be able to control the acceleration of the vehicle speeds electronically. So this come on the what we call as MyEV. So during these years we do a lot of understanding the AVs. So after that we do some experiment. This is being mentioned by Dr. Hazlina. So very basics, because we want to have some experimental car. All right, we want to have one experimental car. So we put some IMU, for example. We put some position control. This will be a display unit, and then we have some steering control, vehicle speed, and the control. This is being developed during around 2014, 16, something like that. All right. So the idea is that we need to have a one platform, very stable platform, so that we can develop our own algorithms. So we start with small buggy. So we start small so that we more confidence on the algorithm. So during my time as well, we do some hardware in the loops testing. We study steering control, stable wire technology, because we know that in order to develop the AVs, we need to able to control the steering. We need to able to control the brake. We need to able to control the accelerator in real time. So that's how we doing that. So this is what we do last time. We do some tuning on the parameters on the accelerometer. This is very fundamental, because we believe that in order to understand the AV, we need to equip the vehicles on how to control the vehicle first. So this is very important, as it will involve on real time. It will involve on reliabilities. It will involve on robustness of the systems. And we do investigate on the drive-by wire. So this is the vehicles. So this is the steering, electronically control the steering here. So this one is more on studying the stable wire and then the feedback control of the system. We want to make sure that the system is able to cope on a real-time, very millisecond sampling time. So this is we start together, and so this is when we develop the car. So first thing, we do some bench tests on drive-by wire. So we do a control on the steerings. We do some throttle control. Brake position and so on. So we start with this. So in order for us to understand the controller, we understand the behavior of the system, because if we develop buggy and then we upgrade into a vehicle, the different, totally different is that the dynamics of the vehicle. So we need to cope on that. So from that we understand. All right. So from that, sorry, I think this is more likely. Now, this one is morely about 2017. So this is the latest one lah. So autonomous vehicle. This is on in, I think, 2018 or 17, something like that, in Cyberjaya. All right. So this is the RF. Sorry. Okay. All right. So these are 2014. You can see that this is the concept of on-demand shuttle, whereby we believe that at the end of the at the end we should have some very smart, intelligent transportation. So this is the concept whereby the shuttle should be autonomously moving from point A to point B, should be able to pick up requests by the passenger, and then should be able to transport it autonomously to the points request demand by the passengers. So this is 2014. Now, since that, on that, we already have what we call autonomous driving software solution. The idea is that we are focused more on the software. So since that we developed the software, so that software should be able to cope or able to be used in varieties vehicle or platform. We call it a platform. So as mobility on demand, for example, taxi, ride hailing, minibus, for example, or personal car, for example, mass transit or freight or utility. So our solution provide is something like a modular basis, so it can be used for any vehicle or any platforms. So we can use in mass transit, for example, a bus, for example, like in MRT, for example. So that's how we want to see ourselves as a software solution. So during the past years, we have a lot of engagement with the government agencies, for example, in order for us to test it out our vehicle in public roads. So awareness is very important. So we have doing a lot of demos. We have doing a lot of public awareness, for example. So amongst that, we being participate in 5G Showcase Putrajaya. This one is not on 2020. This is on 2019, last year. So during this time, we have something like 4 days. So untuk waktu Mahathir experiencing ZAV, we do some public awareness whereby people can ride experiencing the autonomous technology. The idea is to have some feedback from the public, because this is very new in Malaysia. Amongst the countries, it is very new. So we work with Celcom and also Ericsson on this. We do have a lot of engagement with the Ministry of Transport. The idea is that we want to work. We want to something like going forward on how we can do a public trial. So we engagement in MOT with road transport MyROS, for example, APAT, for example. So we give a lot of a talk series with them in order for them to understand autonomous vehicle and how we can work together to achieve some goal. So early this year, we do have a project in Langkawi. So we work with hotel. So we demonstrate 1 month pilot trial in Meritus Pelani. So we engage with the hotel, the resorts, and then this one will become something tourist attraction for them. So for us, we have some varieties of technology. We have some variety of platforms. I mean, we can go for 4-seater. So why, if you look on this one, is more on shuttling. We not go for the public yet because in order for us to go a public, we need to have some approval from Ministry of Transport. So what we did currently is that we do equip our software into a shuttling. For example, we can use autonomous shuttle P4. For example, this is more for golf resort. For example, we have port for P14 is 40-seater. So the idea is that to be used is on autonomous shuttle is that is more on designated area. Let's say in compound area, for example, let's say in universities, for example, in golf course, for example, and then on the private streets, business district, airport shuttle, and also is meant for the first and last miles connectivities. So this is the whole stretch of that systems. So since that we provide a solution, so our solution can be varieties. It can go for autonomous vehicle, or we can go for any sectors. So we do engage with OEM counterparts to commercialize on what we call UET, unmanned electric tractors. So we provide the solutions, and then they provide the hardware so that we can combine it together and commercialize together. So we do have some outdoor autonomous robot. So we want to I can say that focus on outdoor, not in indoor. And also we have some platforms. So you can see that the solution can be used from buggy, AVs, and also mobile robot. So this is can shows that this one is what we do in we test it on a futurized right now. So this is actually the emergency button. So whereby this safety driver can turn it off, take over automatically. Just pushing it, you stop, and then the vehicle will make a sudden brake. So the idea is that if anything happen, then the safety driver can be take over immediately. So the safety driver is mostly is experienced on understanding the AV vehicle. He knows, he able to read if there is a fault, is there any error on it. So you can see that the brake pedal we designed such that the vehicle, the drivers can take over without pressing any button. You just press the brake and then you will stop. All right. So this one is actually the interface on our autonomous vehicle. We do some engagement, like for example, this is okay. Let's say this one. So this is we do with our counterparts in UK. So this is I think in somewhere in UK. So the idea is that try to roll out autonomous shuttle. So since this vehicle is not roadworthiness, so that's why you can see that it's working is autonomously navigate or in the road or in the walkway lah. You can say the walkways. All right. Yes. So this is an example that we deploy our robots somewhere, delivery robot. So this is example of how our tech can be used in multiple or different environments. So how the technology can be used, although can be used in autonomous vehicle or downscaling up to the level of robots. Yeah. All right. I think that will be my talk of the day. So I hope that I have giving some brief on how my experience, a little bit of experience on pursuing on autonomous vehicle in Malaysia. From research, we developed the fundamental research, and then it brings the technology to the commercial side. So I end up my sharings here. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Hairi Zamzuri. So that was a very, very interesting talk. I think this is the first time that I listened to the whole journey that you went through from lab to finally the market, inshallah. So I would like then to open the session to Q&A, any questions that our participants or our listeners have. So you can share your question by commenting on our MACE Facebook page, and then I will pass the question to Dr. Hairi. Okay. So while waiting for the others to come up with questions, I would like to ask some questions like myself, because this is very interesting. So Dr. Hairi, one of the questions that I think a lot of other researchers who are planning to transfer their R&D results to become a commercial product is on the issues of funding. Okay, for your case, how did you manage to secure funding for the pre-commercialization part, as well as the commercialization part? I think the R&D, there are a lot of fundings out there, but the gap between R&D and pre-com is a real problem that everybody's facing. Can you share with us your experience?
I don't have any funding actually. From government, I can say that from government. Yeah, I don't have any government funding for this. We do have I can say that more on a partnership with overseas. So what we do is actually we develop the software. our commercial is I can say the totally 100% on the shuttle is I can say is that's not the commercial part. I mean the commercial part for 100% on selling autonomous shuttle is not our income, but we do licensing our software to the counterpart on the partnership on the our you can say the partners lah. So from the total solution of the software or to the module of our software itself. So we do commercials on that. Not on if you people most entirely look into the selling the whole bunch of the autonomous shuttle, correct? But for us, we selling the software. We commercialize the software. So that's how the coming generating income to the company.
Right. Thank you. So I have quite a few questions from the audience on Facebook. So I'm going to read some of them to you. So we have Ahmad Mujahid. Okay, what drives Dr. Hairi to become an entrepreneur?
Okay. Itu Mujahid. Alright. I don't know. Probably AV is something new to the Malaysia. A new technology, new things to venture on. I believe personally we need to more likely personally I believe someone to take I can say the adventures or someone to take the challenge lah to pursue on how to commercialize it. So I think that's one lah. I don't know, but it's something challenging for me. All right.
Thank you. Okay, so there's another question from the Reda Maki. A very good morning. I would like to ask some questions. What are the biggest challenge on your journey to succeed this AV project, to make sure that this AV project is successful?
But on the tech itself, the technology we can manage. I mean, we can do a lot of improvement, we can do a lot of development. But the most challenging is that to creating the public acceptance.
Public acceptance.
Awareness. Because people, of course, it's a new technology, and every new technology will be kind of that. And then currently we do engage with Ministry of Transport on how we want to put in a public flyer, put in on the public so that we can first. So that's one thing lah, policy and regulation. But for the past 2 years, our agencies, our government, I believe they are positive on helping startup, helping entrepreneur to go on beyond the current trends, innovations. We work together with Futureize to how we want to engage with ministry. We have a lot of series on that. So regulation, policies, and public. It's not about technology itself, because the technology we can control, we can develop. But in order for us slowly, so we need to engage with the agencies, authorities.
Right. Thank you very much. Okay. Next question. What are the important criteria for a researcher to become an entrepreneur?
Passion. Yeah. Semangat, sabar, passion. you have to be. I think that's the whole things lah. When you love that, you will work on that. So be patient. Yeah.
Great. Okay. There are quite a few questions here. Okay. Another question coming in. How do you motivate your team, your research members, to have the same goal and intention in this research? What's your strategy to keep your team together?
I don't treat myself as a boss. I treat myself as I can say a team, a friends or team. We work together. We do some flexibilities together. It's not about works, and it's about inspiring them to become one of the so-called team in Malaysia. So that's the journey. We aim that this is for the nation. We have that spirit. Okay, let's try to do it. It's not about boss and the staff. It's about a team, inspired, and then work together. Yeah. That's the problem.
Okay, another question. How autonomous vehicle from Abdul Mu'i? Sorry, I forgot to remember. So that question was from Siti Marhanis Osman. Okay. Okay, next question from Abdul Muiz. How autonomous vehicle or robots in general will impact Malaysian society in the future?
Okay. Sorry, to answer that, I think people look in different way. I mean people look in the robot will replace human. I think that's not true. The idea is the robot should have human, not replacing 100%. It should have people to ease their work. For example, a lot of robots to use be assisting the workers in manufacturing, for example. So it's not replacing. The idea is to make easier the humans, and people start looking at says that the robot something like worker will lose the jobs, all right, because the robot taking place. But if you look into the other way around, that most of the 3D works dangerous, right, dirty, so that will be should replaced by the robot. But that workers we should upgrade, upskilling how to operate the robot, so that the salary, the knowledge will be increased. Instead of as a labor, it become the operator of the robot, and then it needs to have a skill set. Then the salary will increase. That's how I'm looking at. Yeah. All right.
So we are collaborating with robots rather than having robots replacing us.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, another question from Muhammad Fitri. How to persuade Malaysian people, including the ministry, about autonomous vehicle? How about the real implementation in Malaysia that you can foresee? When do you think that will happen?
Dr. Azrina, a lot of people ask me.
So this is like a question. You must have a very good answer.
No, I don't have that answers yet. But I see that mostly, for example, Picturance, for example, a lot of agencies again, they're creating the ecosystem that open up the innovations. They give away. But for us, the entrepreneurial startup, we need to drive. We cannot wait a government. Okay, government put the incentive, then we go. Government say mostly okay, we have budget here, then go. But for me, I'm just okay if mostly or any government agency open up. For example, when we do meeting or with the MOT, they said, okay, let's find a way how we going to put our AV in public. For me, it's good enough because they are the ones that open up the door then we need to find the ways lah, where to go, how to maneuver or so. But at least they are encouraging us. I don't think we just need to wait for the fund and then we go. I don't think it's that. At least they have the ideas. This is innovation. This tech should be in Malaysia. This technology should be put or should be work or should embark on. So they open the door, creates a lot of initiative. Then we should go for entrepreneur. We cannot wait for the grant. I don't think so. Yeah.
So we have to be more creative lah in that. Okay, let's see. Is there another question? Okay, from Mr. Shahril Kawanchi. How would you would you encourage technopreneurs to venture into AV? How do you see the AV industry in Malaysia, say in the next 5 years? Well, some very difficult questions we have here. Maybe not so difficult.
Okay, the question is what? 5 years? Not easy. All right. What else?
How would you encourage entrepreneurs to venture into AV?
Okay. If you look into AV itself, it's actually people look in AV is transporting passenger. All right, shuttling. For example, Waymo, because they have 1,000, I think, car on the road somewhere in US, shuttling people, but not on commercial, still on trial, still on testing. So that's one thing. So if you say within the 5 years, whether it's commercial or not, I think we will do. But we need to see around the whole around the world. For example, recently AutoX is Alibaba, I think, joining up, and then he wants to deploy level 5 autonomous vehicle in China. Level 5 meaning that there is no driver at all. Like me, we still put a driver, safety driver, but for them they already reduce the drivers lah. So in US, for example, they're already testing out taking a passenger in some manners that sees that, and then they invest on something like buying the whole city, empty city, as a public as a trying testing field. So there's a lot of activities around the world. I'm not saying in Malaysia as well. There's a lot of activities around the world. So my point is that if, let's say, the government currently they already put on first initiative, they have some guideline, they already have designated areas in public road around Cyberjaya. So the idea is that to encourage people. So they open up the door. Look, I have this road for you to test. Come in, try. Not on commercialized, but try.
Yeah.
So hopefully we are the one, the pioneer lah. I'm hoping. But if you look on that, when government put initiative something like that, they already put a first milestone, which is very, very important. They're creating some guideline. They're giving up some space for us to test. So this, if you look in Singapore, for example, the government put this kind of initiative. So what happened is all these big company around the world, Conti, Aptiv, Volvo, I remember a few, but around the world they are already investing into Singapore and creating a lot of startup on the AV itself. It's not on an autonomous vehicle, not carrying passenger, but look at transporting goods in seaport, for example, container transport autonomously. They have delivery robot in outdoor, for example. They have creating some surveillance robot using the same technology. So what I mean is that when government puts an initiative, a simple initiative like that, so startup can go, delivery robot, everything's on that autonomous vehicle technology. So when government puts an initiative, I think there will be a lot of startup.
A lot of opportunities coming.
Yes, yeah, I think so. Right. Not only for us, but I think for the government, for the mission. Yeah.
Thank you. So the future is there. It's just how we equip ourselves to feel the ideas that the country has for AV. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to pick last question here. All right. So this is from Dr. Muhammad Fahizal. How can we support our KKM, the Ministry of Health, to handle COVID-19 situation using autonomous robot?
Okay. Recently, if you go, there's a big news, right? There's a lot of robotics company doing this pilot trial at my employment. The idea is that try to reduce the contact between the staff nurse to the patient. So that's all the idea. So I think the robot should be one of the playing roles lah. Transporting, food deliveries, medical, and so on. When we talk about autonomous vehicle, when we talk about a lot of testing out. I mean, in China, for example, they do some delivery outdoor from one point A to point B on the COVID-19 specimen or test kit itself. So there is a lot of opportunities about that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. So I would like to thank Dr. Hairi for his time sharing with us his experience. Thank you very much. I think the talk has been very interesting. The sharing is very something that a lot of people listening to this talk can learn from. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best in your future undertakings, and inshallah things will be good and bright for you, for COVID especially. And I would also like to thank all our participants in this session. I think we have almost 100 people joining this session. So thank you very much. And don't forget, next Monday we will have another session, and we will distribute some info. Just come and go to MACE Facebook page on Monday, next Monday at 10:30 p.m. 10:30 a.m., 10:30 in the morning, and we will have another speaker for you. Thank you very much, Dr. Hairi.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.